Yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about something similar to the last time, but really honing in on a certain point. I want to talk about the left-wing ideology in Ireland and how it's going to destroy our country. So lately in the news, we've seen about the Misha Era Festival and how the band or group or whatever you want to call them, Kneecap, signs a petition to ban this Irish cultural music festival. And I find this really funny because our Kneecap is anti-British establishment and all about Irish freedom and freedom of speech. But they want to ban an Irish cultural music festival. I find that really strange. Now, the more I look into Kneecap, I start to see Kneecap, the anti-British establishment rap group, is funded by the British government. I find that really weird. And another link I want to talk about, who I'm really honing in here today, is Sinn Féin and their links with Kneecap. Gerry Adams made his little appearance in their little movie that they made, and all of their talking points in their music and in interviews is very similar to Sinn Féin's. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it is a psyop, but it's looking like a psyop. Sinn Féin gets all this dodgy funding and donations through a loophole, right, in Northern Ireland, because the maximum amount of donation you're allowed in Ireland from foreign investment is only like a couple €1,000. They received £3 million from the UK, and then they received $300,000 from some lady in the US. I realized the top of my head was cut off in the beginning of that video, but anyways, this Irish rap group who's all about freedom wants an Irish cultural music festival banned. We live in a country that its culture is being diluted and destroyed, and a government that hates Irish culture. Very strange. Sinn Féin is dying to get into power so they can have their neo-Marxist hierarchical structure where they're just in charge. Don't question them. Just like Pater Tobin, who was a former TD of Sinn Féin, the minute he took a stance, he was nudged out. He was gone. That's why they never want a coalition. In this country, we need to, first of all, look at the older generation who are the most uninformed voters ever and just go out and vote for Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. That needs to stop. This is why I don't even really believe in that everybody should be able to vote. They don't have a clue. Just say, we just vote for them because we always voted for them. They don't even know why they're voting for them. What information do you get about voting in this country? Zero. None in school. I was just brainwashed in school to try and be a liberal, and if I opposed them in school, I was called a racist, I was called a bigot, I was called a misogynist, I was called hateful, I was told that I'm full of hate and I need to stop looking at these ideologies. Ooh, the ideologies that our country and the West was built upon. Until the West started declining when we started following your ideologies, Sinn Féin's, Fine Gael's weird ideologies, gay marriage, abortion, trans rights. It's a slippery slope. I talked about it in the last video and we're going to talk about it more. But I just want to know, why is Sinn Féin getting all this weird funding through a loophole and it's completely allowed? Why is Kneecap getting all this funding from the British government that they hate so much and then trying to stop free speech even though they advocate for free speech? Then they also say they're fighting for freedom and they're real Irish guys, but nothing they promote is of Irish culture. Where are they promoting an established large Catholic family? Where are they promoting skilled workers? Where are they saying there should be an end put to mass migration? Where? I don't see it. I see a bunch of guys who got a gag going with being anti-British establishment and getting a bunch of money in their pockets. These are the people that are influencing these young people who also want to vote for Sinn Féin. This is who is influencing our votes. Kneecap, the Irish media, RTE, which is a government-funded show, broadcasting station, the 6 o'clock show where they chuckle and laugh about abortion. And they bring on all these woke guests and treat them with the most dignity and respect, but they won't give a voice to conservatives because the only time we get any small amount of coverage in the media is to call us racist, bigot, misogynist. That's laughable. They bring everybody in. Bring everybody in. Of course, Sinn Féin and all these other parties want that. Sinn Féin says that they're all about closed borders. I don't believe that. I don't believe a word that comes out of Sinn Féin's mouth. I don't believe a party that has 2 of their TDs being investigated for fraud. I don't believe a party that gets a bunch of donations through a loophole. I don't believe any of the parties in Ireland. I don't believe any of them. They're all neo-Marxist and socialist and communist, and it's too globalist for my liking. It's too let's dance for the EU to my liking. It's too anti-Catholic for my liking. They hate God. They hate God, all of them. AIM 2 is the only party that I would say is pretty conservative and cares about the Irish language, cares about they're quite nationalist in their beliefs, and are advocating for religion to be brought back. And that's another video I want to make, is like why we need religion and how the West that we live in was built upon that religion that so many Irish people hate. The minute you mention religion now, people get sick in their stomach. I don't want to hear it. That's another issue in Ireland now that we're seeing. These young mullet rocking mustache guys and the rolly smoking Doc Marten boots women, the loudmouths, don't want to have conversations. They're know-it-alls. They think they know everything. And I've debated them. They don't know anything. And they're the influencers on TikTok that are promoted in Ireland. They don't have one brain cell to share amongst them. And they're funded. They're funded. They're on the TV shows. I'm going to say it here. I was supposed to be on a TV show where there's a mix of liberals and conservatives and centrists and this and that, where you talk about these type of things. And I told them my views. I told them I'm a Catholic. I'm not too fond of immigration. I am not fond of any of these social issues that, like, these ideologies that are pushed into Ireland anymore. I'm not a fan of them. I told them I'm based. And they wanted me. And all of a sudden they turn around and said, no, you didn't make the cut. I'll tell you why I didn't make the cut. Because I was too articulated for their liking. They wanted a loudmouth racist dumbass to go on there to get them views, to make us look worse, and have the articulated posh left-wing people go on with their mullets and their mustaches and look like the ones who are so innocent and know what they're talking about, and they just care about everybody. Let me tell you, they're nothing but heathens, the majority of them. Hedonism in this country is just skyrocketing. All I see is consumerism and hedonism, and everyone just cares about themselves, and love is love, man. It's all about them and making them the most amount of money. But they're the ones that are paying all the taxes. I want them to ask, where's their taxpayer money going? Where's it going? Because even for themselves, it's getting them nowhere. They can't buy a house. They can't buy a car. They're struggling. We're all struggling. And that's why we need to band together and stop voting for these parties that don't care about us economically. Right, we might not agree on the social issues, but we can agree that the economics of all of these parties is bad. Whether they're capitalist, whether they're social Marxists, neo-Marxist, socialists, whatever they are. Go with the corporatist view, bro. Corporatism is good. If you don't like capitalism, or you don't like socialism, or you like vice versa, then the perfect median is corporatism. And that's a video for another day. But it really blew me away to see this in the news about Kneecap. And it doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't really surprise me if it came out that they are a cultural psyop, like the rest of the media in Ireland. But we need to start standing up as a people. We need to show that we're articulated. We need to show that we know what we're talking about. We need to show that we're not afraid to talk about what we believe in. And we need to start backing each other. And we need to call out our fellow brothers and sisters in the movement that might not be so articulated. Let's not just be like, oh, they're a racist, and push them to the side. Let's try and educate them and say, yo, tone it back a little bit. Let's change up the way we're talking. And let's look like we are put together. And let's return to the church. And let's make a difference in this country. Because we need it. We need it. Sinn Féin's going to get into power one day if we don't act now. Gen Z is going to vote for Sinn Féin. Let's give publicity to the people actually care about this nation. If you guys like my videos, subscribe, leave a comment, and let's get the word out there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Take care. God bless.